What's up guys, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket is about to release a brand new set, Celestial Guardians. In this set there are 3 awesome cards that have already been leaked. So let's get into this. I built 3 decks to show off what we should be using with these cards and how we're going to get a lot of wins. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, so the first deck I set up here is Lunala. And on the side I'm going to have the deck list. I'm going to edit Lunala over the correct cards, but it's not going to be on the center at the right time here. So just imagine this Duskull is Cosmog, this is the middle form of Cosmog, and then this is Lunala, right? Duskull. So this line is going to be, I just need filler cards, and it was nice to have some Psychic that are in here. They're going to be Cosmog, bigger Cosmog, Lunala, right? And as you can see on the side, Lunala, 180 HP, Psychic type. The main point of this card is going to be the ability Psychic Connect. And this ability lets you move all the energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. They have to be Psychic. And basically this is going to set up giant attacks. So let's get into what I thought of my idea. So, like I said, Cosmog, Lunala line right here, okay? So that's going to take up 6 cards of the slot. I put 1 Mewtwo. I don't know if we want 1 or 2 here. I was thinking 1 just because we already have so many cards for Pokemon. But maybe we have to upgrade to 2. I might have to go 2 Mewtwo, 1 Giratina. But anyway, right now I have 1 Mewtwo, and the idea here is Side Drive, super strong. Everyone knows about this Mewtwo, 150 HP. For Side Drive for 4 energy, 150 damage, discard 2 Psychic energy. So obviously super strong attack. The drawback is just the energy, which Lunala solves, right? Because the other part of our deck is going to be these Giratinas. Giratina, 150 HP, Psychic type, ability, Broken Space Bellow. Once during your turn, you may take in Psychic energy from your energy zone, attach it to this Pokemon. You know, your turn ends. But basically the idea will be, we're going to have Giratina on the bench, charging up, we're attaching energy to it normally, and we're using Broken Space Bellow. We're building up our Lunala, right? And then we're going to put Mewtwo out, and then use Lunala's ability and just flood it completely with Psychic energy. It's going to get 4. You can even get more than 4 just so you can Side Drive more than once, but once you're doing 150 HP, that's a lot. 150 HP from a basic Pokemon is very crazy. It'll lead to some crazy things. That's the idea here. I think this will be, I don't know if it's going to be the best. I think there's going to be a better Psychic type in the new set that's going to be, stronger than Mewtwo. Maybe just you get flips for Psychic energy or something like that, but for right now, I think this is the best bet. When I hopefully pull Lunala on Wednesday, I'm just going to jump in with this deck and try it out. For items, I have 2 Pokeballs because we have a lot of basics, and we really have to get Cosmog. Oh, here's another thing, too. Instead of the middle form of Cosmog, you could also just flip in rare candies, which will make it a lot faster. But either way, it's going to be taking up 6 cards. So, but we have 2 Pokeballs, we got to get to our basics. 2 Giant Capes, because we're not super heavy on HP. Lunala has a lot, but Mewtwo isn't crazy, Giratina isn't crazy. 150 is a lot, but it's not... the sweet spot is for really like 170 because there's Pokemon like Mewtwo that are doing 150. Alright. We have 2 Professor's Research. Professor's Research is just too strong. I don't think you could ever really make a deck without 2 of them. 1 Sabrina just to slow people down and to grab other Pokemon. And, attack them with our big Side Drive if needed, right? Leaf, we have a lot of 2 Energy Retreaters. Lunala is only a 1 Energy Retreater. But even then, I don't think we're ever going to want to have energy on Lunala. I think Lunala is just going to sit on the bench and use her ability to throw all the energy onto like Mewtwo, or if there's another new Psychic type, maybe like, I don't know. We'll have to keep looking. You can even double flood Giratinas. If 1 Giratina gets low on HP, you could move the energy over with Lunala. There's a lot of interesting things you can do. But yeah, Leaf will be good. Iono. Obviously, just go super good with Professor's Research. Just get to your cards. Red. I think red is pretty important. I don't know. I have a hard time putting 2 reds on decks. I feel like I never, ever use 2 reds in one match. But, like I said, 170 is really the sweet spot. The interesting thing is, Lunala and Solgaleo are both not getting knocked out by 150 damage. Even with red, they're not getting knocked out by 170 damage. So maybe some of these older cards that we kind of think is very strong aren't going to be crazy. I mean, Charizard still get the knockout, but, as we can see here, Mewtwo can't. But, anyway, 1 red, 1 Iono, another Leaf. I think that's a pretty good idea for a deck. I feel pretty confident about bringing this one. You know, if there's ranked out, I'll bring it straight into ranked. I'm pretty confident it could at least compete. I think it'll be pretty meta. But I am also pretty sure we're going to be getting a very, very strong Psychic type in the new set that can kind of utilize Lunala's shenanigans with her ability, right? So that's what I got here. Let's jump over to the next deck. This is going to be Solgaleo, and once again, I kind of have a line here, Cosmog, bigger Cosmog. I think it's called Cosmeo or something. I always forget the middle form of Cosmog. And it's going to be Solgaleo. So 6 cards again, right? And same idea. It might be more meta. It more likely will be. It's to just take the 2 middle Pokemon out and just do Cosmog, 2 rare candy, Solgaleo, right? And the idea here is, you know, we want to kind of stay back until we get a Solgaleo because, well, anyway, let's go back and I haven't put Solgaleo on the side here. But Solgaleo, 180 HP, Metal type. Its main point is this ability, Rising Road, right? And with this ability, he can just swap right into the active spot. And then alongside that, for 2 Steel Energy, he could do 120 damage and only 10 to himself with 180 HP. Very, very, very strong, right? So the main idea for this deck is kind of just going to be survive until Solgaleo gets ready to come into attack. The other one is kind of like, Lunala is not really the attacker. She's kind of sitting back and building up other Pokemon. Solgaleo is going to be our main attacker in this deck. So I was thinking we're going to have 2 Skarmory. Skarmory is so, so strong for what he is, right? For a basic Pokemon. 1 Metal Energy, 20 plus 30 if he's a Pokemon Tool. Pokemon Tools are so easy to get. I wonder if we're going to get new ones in this set. I don't know. They're already so strong. But if we do, obviously, Skarmory just gets stronger. I have 1 Dialga because I don't think we're going to be on Dialga or Skarmory too long. We really got to focus on getting the Solgaleo, but 2 Skarmory, 1 Dialga, the Cosmog line, right? That's taking up a lot of the cards. That's 9 cards right there. That's a lot, but this is going to be very, very strong because I think Skarmory and Dialga are strong enough to survive until Solgaleo without really ever getting knocked out. So you shouldn't even be risking any prizes. Obviously, there always is some risk, but, you know, and if we get Dialga first, we can just get Metallic Turbo, and then hopefully Solgaleo's ready. You just power him up, switch right to him. He's only 2 energy, which is crazy. Crazy, crazy. But, you know, if Dialga's not around, Skarmory only needs 1 energy. We're going to throw a Rocky Helmet or a Cape on him, and he's doing a lot of damage. Super, super fast. But we'll get into that in a second. Once again, 2 Pokeballs. We have a lot of basics. We really have to get the Cosmogs down. It's very, very important. 2 Giant Capes, 2 Rocky Helmets. I have a lot of tools on this one because if you're running Skarmory, you really need to get a tool down on him or else he's really nothing special, but with a tool, he's crazy. 50 damage for 1 energy. So strong. And he has 80 HP. It's a lot for a basic. So we have our Pokeballs, our tools, Professor's Research because we have to get Cosmog. We have to get our rare candies. We have to get Solgaleo. Sabrina, super good. This is a very standard deck, honestly. There's no crazy strategy. We'll see if there's, you know, none of the league supporters yet look too good for the you know, this kind of deck. Maybe we could throw a Lily on here instead of, maybe you can take out one of these one of these Pokemon tools and throw a Lily in from what we've seen so far, you know, just to heal up Solgaleo. But I don't think Lily is better than any card here. Because we have 1 Sabrina, we're going to need at least 1 Iona and 1 Red. Because Solgaleo doesn't do a crazy amount of damage, she does 120. But also it's not really enough where Red's going to matter a lot of the time. It's going to usually have to be 2 hits or a Red plus a Skarmory. Or, yeah, pretty much Red plus Skarmory. That's another good thing about Skarmory. Not Red plus Skarmory, Solgaleo plus Skarmory. 120 plus 50 will take out most of the game. There's really only a couple Pokemon that live, like Solgaleo himself. But we'll see, you know, if Solgaleo also is very strong, we might have to change our deck around a little bit. Either way, he'll be strong then in that case, right? So we'll be okay. But I think this is a pretty good set. I would also, once again, feel very confident bringing this set into rank as soon as it drops. But I'm trying to think if there's anyone else I would change out. I don't think so. I think this is what I would go. Maybe a Lily instead of one of the helmets. That would be my final answer. Yeah, also Solgaleo is going to love the helmet. Because he's going to want a little extra damage, and he has so much health. And 180 you can't really get to with anyone but Charizard, and Charizard's going to knock him out either way, because he's weak to fire, and Charizard is 200. So I think this is actually a really good set list for Solgaleo. I feel even more confident. I feel pretty good about the Lunala one. But like I said, I think we're going to get a very strong Psychic type to go alongside Lunala. I don't know if we're going to get a very strong Steel type to go alongside Lunala. I'm trying to think of who could even slot in there. Who was a big Gen 7 Pokemon that was Steel? I don't know. None are coming to mind that we would throw in here. I think we have to get a Komodo EX, right? Because we got Garchomp when they did the other. So there should be one starter. Maybe Incineroar. They already did a fire starter. Maybe Incineroar is like the fan favorite, right? So maybe Incineroar EX, Komodo EX. Who else is Alolan Raichu's one already leaked? Who else is kind of like a fan favorite from that generation? Alolan Executor? That would be cool. Another fan favorite. So I don't really see there being another metal type. Maybe Melmetal? Maybe. Maybe I actually can see that. Melmetal, maybe. But either way, I think this is a very good deck list. I'd be even more confident jumping in with this one than the Lunala one. I'll probably go, if I pull I kind of have to pull a lot, right, to get rare candies, or Cosmogs, and Cosmogs, and the middle form of Cosmog, and Solgaleo, but I have a lot of Hourglasses and Gold. So I'll be summoning, and hopefully just jumping in with this deck as soon as the new set comes out. Alright, then let's get into our third deck. This is for the new Alolan Raichu, who is also super, super strong. He has 140 HP. He doesn't have an ability, only one attack. It's called Psychic, for 3 colorless energy. He does 60 damage plus 30 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. And, you know, immediately you're thinking 30 damage times each energy. You're thinking Giratina has 4 energy attached to him pretty much at all times when he's, well, not at all times, when he's attacking he has 4 energy, right? 40 times 30, 120, 120 plus 60, 180. That, you know, takes out Giratina even with the cape. Kind of seems like what this Raichu's made for. Raichu also has 140 HP. Giratina only does 130, so you either cape up Raichu, and he can't get you with red, or no cape, he can't get you normally, right? He has to have his own red or something. So, super, super good card. This is kind of my list. I have 2 Pikachus here. Pikachu, and these Raichus represent Alolan Raichu. So it'll be 2 Pikachus evolve into Raichu. 2 Pachirisus. This Pachirisu's super good. 1 energy, take an electric energy from your energy zone, attach to one of your bench Pokemon. Super, super good to Pokemon just to start with. You do a little bit of chip damage, you know, load up electric energy onto whatever Pokemon you're aiming for, right? So our main goal here is just going to be get to our Alolan Raichu. I threw on these 2. I think both of these cards are very strong still. Pachirisu EX, a little bit weak in the HP department, 120, but Sparking Gadget. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached to it, you do 40 more damage, and he already has 40 on him, so 40 plus 40, 80 damage for 2 energy, and all it needs is a Pokemon Gadget, and like we talked about before, they are super, super OP. Almost every deck has to run at least 2 Pokemon tools, usually they have 3 or 4. So super good to start out with. Same thing with Pikachu EX here. Circle Circuit, 30 damage for each bench Pokemon. You have a ton, you're going to be flooding the bench on this deck. Once again, kind of 120 HP, kind of low, but for 2, you know, you get 90 damage for 2 energy. And a really low retreat cost, so you kind of know what you're getting. This is pretty much going to be out first before Alolan Raichu's ready. We don't have a super big tank on this deck, so maybe we'll have to revisit, maybe we'll get a good electric type. Once again, I'm trying to think. Well, we are getting a Vikavolt, because we got the leaked trainer that said it, right? And we're also, I think he says Mimikyu on his supporter. Let me look real quick. I believe so, though. No, it's Vikavolt or Togedemaru. And Togedemaru is definitely not going to be a tank. Vikavolt probably won't either because he's a bug type. I don't know if we're going to have a tank. We can go Palmo. Palmo is not amazing. Actually, I've done very well with Palmo, but he only has 140 HP. It's, you know, the same as our Raichu. But that would be kind of our idea here. You want to start off with Pachirisu, or Pachirisu EX, or Pikachu. Usually this Pachirisu is the best, but I kind of just... We're going to have something while Raichu gets built up, because he's not super, super fast. He's 3 energy. We don't have a crazy amount of energy acceleration. It's just going to be Pachirisu. Now that I think about it, though, I think there's a Lieutenant Surge card that gives energy to Raichu, right? Look it up. Move all electric energy from your bench Pokemon to your Raichu, Electrode, or Electabuzz in the active spot. That might actually be something we'd want here. I'm just going to do this to get cards out of the way. That could be something to consider. Now that I'm looking at it, maybe you flip... We'll keep going through the deck list, but we'll come back to considering that in a second. 3 energy on Raichu. Hopefully it'll work with Alolan Raichu. I assume it will. I assume the name just has to be part of it. But I have 2 Pokeballs. We have a lot of basics here. Same as usual, right? Pokemon communication, that's a little different because we have to get to our Raichu. We don't have to get there super fast. We have to get 3 energy. 3 energy is kind of a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. It's not Giratina with 4 who's getting it consistently with his ability, right? 2 capes and a helmet. We're not super HP dominant. We're pretty low, so capes are going to be kind of a must. And Pachirisu wants a Pokemon tool. So good there, right? 2 Professor's Research. Like I said, you can't really run a deck without it. I hope we get like a secret art rare version of Professor's Research, because I run it in every deck, right? It'd be cool to have a gold one, or just, you know, full art, or different professors in each set. That'd be cool. Sabrina, you know, very standard there. Switching out Pokemon. We're going to be hunting Giratinas with this deck. Mars, just kind of a late game shutdown. But I think there might be some merit in switching this out with Lieutenant Surge. Especially, I think you could definitely pull some shenanigans with, you know, first we build up Pikachu. We retreat, put up Raichu, Lieutenant Surge, full energy. You know, he has 2 energy. Combined with Raichu's 1, we're at 3 energy. Interesting stuff. I actually do think that'll be very viable. I mean, as long as it works, pending it works. Right? I think it will work with a Alolan Raichu, but I guess we'll see. 1 Iona, 1 red. Red, not really that necessary. We're doing so much damage with Raichu already. But maybe we'll flip both of these for 2 Lieutenant Surges. That could be interesting. Actually, I think I might try that. Might make an on-the-fly edit here. Might be an on-the-fly edit. No red. Hopefully I have 2 Lieutenant Surges. I forget already. Let's see. Oh, only 1. Only 1. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get another Lieutenant Surge before we get into the set. But even without that, maybe add... If we're doing energy transfer like this, maybe next speed? Right? We don't want to be giving away our energy. Yeah, I think this is, once again, a really good set list. I feel confident with this one. I think the best set so far, or not the best set, the best deck of the set that I've made or I've thought about was Solgaleo, definitely. I think this Pikachu is second, Lunala third. I don't know, it might come, you know, that might come back to bite me, and Lunala is going to be super crazy. There's some more sets, some more decks that I think actually look stronger with just the addition of Rare Candy. I think Charizard is going to be absurd. The Stoke Charizard. Just getting the Charizard super early and stoking, you know, and you're doing 150 damage consistently. You have no drawback. It's going to be crazy. I think that's super crazy. Super crazy. I think Gallade is super crazy. I think Masquerada is super crazy with Beedrill, because you can just combo that deck. You know, you can go Weedle, Sprigatito, Masquerada, Beedrill, and then whoever you get, you get. You know, you clear up so many cards. You clear up 4 cards for 2. And it's quicker. And it's so much damage. I think that might be the best deck of this set. But thank you guys for watching. Comment down below if you think these decks will be viable, or what you think you're going to run with each Pokemon, right? I'm going to put all 3 of these pictures on the side so we get to get one last quick look of the 3 decks. But thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. See you guys tomorrow. I'm really excited for this set. We have 2 more days. This should be going up on Monday. I think it'll release in the afternoon on Wednesday. Maybe I'll live stream. I have to check if it's midnight in the afternoon. Won't be able to live stream it at midnight, but if it's in the afternoon, look out for that. So, but thank you guys. See you tomorrow.